we've just had the launch of Special Forces Season Series 3. So we've been doing a lot of promotion for that, including a trip up to New York. That was me and Rudy. We had a number of interviews. Good Day, New York, Decider.com, and a few other TV interviews and magazine interviews to promote it. The show is going really, really well. And then after that was a trip to LA to do exactly the same, but finishing off with a catch up with a team from Fox in Fox Studio. And the feeling was, of joy, happiness, and a good result so far.
So did you see everybody from the show? Did they all show up to the...
No, we didn't. Well, we did see some people, but no, there was no, like the last one we did, we kind of did a special sort of, what's the word, we turned up, me and Q, unexpected, to surprise them. This time, we kind of expected something similar, or at least everybody be together, but it never happened, which kind of sad that we didn't do that. However, we did catch up with a few of the guys. Yeah. Brody from this new series, Brody Jenner, and Nick Vial, who was obviously on the one before. Mm-hmm. So they came for a social evening, and we had a few beers at the hotel and had a good laugh, actually.
I don't know why they don't do that, because I really liked like the reunion, I guess you'd call it. I really liked that when they did that.
Yeah.
They did it the last 2 seasons, or did they just do that from the first season?
No, I think it was just the first season they did it. They didn't do it on the second one either. But, yeah, we did one in Australia when we did the Australian version where they brought all the contestants, the recruits back together, and they kept us apart. So we had the 4DS, all the contestants were there, and they got to go through, dissect the whole thing, how they got to know about the show, what they thought about it, why they came on it, what they did to build up, and then all their lessons learned and things they took away from it. And we did the same, talked a little bit behind the scenes of how it's put together, where the locations come from and why they do the things they do. And it actually became an extra episode. It was really good.
Well, I mean, we could do that here.
Let's do it.
So behind the scenes.
We could do behind the scenes, but we haven't got the recruits.
All right.
But we could do it from...
Come on, guys.
One of these guys?
Behind the scenes, something that I wanted to ask you about. And first off, the season's been amazing so far. I think it's the best one yet. I like the 2-hour episodes. Okay. I didn't know if it, but it keeps you engaged the whole time. Like, it is entertaining. I think you seem a little bit meaner this season than usual.
No, nothing's changed. It's just camera angles.
That's the editing, yeah.
Look, I'm just a grumpy old man. Yeah, all right? That's true. That's not true. I'm just firm and fair, and no, I guess they just caught the right moments. It's all about the editing, I always say. I don't think I'm any different.
Well, it's funny, my mom was watching, and she was like, they need to do away with that fighting challenge, the boxing challenge. And I was like, Mom, they're taking them through the course. They're not going to do any less than what they would do in the actual training. Yeah. So stuff that people think seems harsh or seems mean, that's what you went through when you were doing this.
And the idea of the show is, as we've talked about before, it's to get that experience of what it would be like to be in on a military course and what the standards are and how it's run. So that's what it really replicates. The real Special Forces selection is 6 months long. So this is a very condensed version of it. And all those tasks, there's a reason why you do them. Some people don't like the fighting. And particularly in the UK, men will fight women. And there's always controversy around that. But the idea behind it, listen, you train to go to war and you don't know who you're going to fight. Yeah. I've been in battles where women have tried to kill us. The enemy is the enemy and you have to deal with that. It's up to you how you deal with it. There's only one way to deal with it, it's to eliminate it.
Have you ever in combat had like a physical fight with someone, or?
Yeah, but no woman. But I mean,
in general, like you've had to
you've got in hand to hand, yeah. Wow. Yeah. When stuff goes down and you're in close quarter combat, you deal with what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Whatever's there, and if you're going in on a raid to take someone down, you're physically in there amongst it. You have to be.
Are there ever moments where you don't have your gun on you and you have to engage with the enemy?
No. Luckily, I mean, you're going into a situation that you're ready for. And you're always ready for it. You know, if you're in a combat zone, your weapon is a part of your right hand. It's an extension. You should never, ever, and I've never been without it. And I don't know any of my sort of team that have ever been without it. However, there are times when the weapon is not the thing to use. It's not the weapon of choice might be your hands, because if the enemy has thrown the weapon down, by law, you're not allowed to now engage with him. You know, which sometimes I think is a bit crazy when they just try to kill you.
Yeah.
But that's the law. And so there are times you've gone in, or we've gone on a target and the weapons are not seen. So you just go straight, you know, you've got your weapon in your hand and use it as a leverage to take them down, or you just use your hands to take them down. And we've done all that as well. So, but the show replicates that. And I understand when people go, oh, I don't like it. We don't like it. But that's what it is. It's a real test of character and nerve. That's what you got to be able to do. And the other thing to it, which leads on to similar to that, is, you know, people go, well, why are women carrying all that weight? Well, that's what the rules are. The rule, there's no concessions for women, men, small, large. It doesn't matter. The distances are these distances, the times are these times, the standards are these standards, and it won't ever change. They come to get that experience. And you don't get that experience if you start making concessions and you know, giving people an easy ride because of their physical capabilities. It is what it is. And everybody coming on that show gets told that this is what it's going to be. So
my question is, with you, Rudy, Q, and Foxy, you all served in different branches of the military. So you all went through a different special forces course when you were going in, right? So how do you guys kind of come up with what it's going to be and combine what each of you did? That's
the beauty of the show. We've got such a melting pot of ideas and ways. I mean, again, the show is to test somebody physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You know, push them through these boundaries. And there's only so many ways to do that. You know, people are either scared of heights, scared of confined spaces, you know, scared of being in front of people, being challenged, being given responsibility. So we'll come up with the ideas of how do we test people in every one of those. Some people will be strong at things, some people will be weak. It's once we find what your weakness is when we'll put focus directly on you to get you through that and see how you cope with it. You know, everybody will do the same. Some people love being under the water. Great, that's fine. We're not really testing you then mentally on that you as a person. But there's other ways we'll test you. However, somebody else will be petrified of the water. That's when we will test them. Just the fact that they've overcome their fears by taking on the challenge, just by stepping into the water, the cage, and going and attempting it is a great barrier broken for them.
How much time before you guys film the show do you guys go out and do what do you call it, the recce?
The recce. It's normally a couple of months before.
Okay.
So, you know, and again, it follows the ethos of the British Special Forces, which is we try to, if we're not war fighting, we'll train in every environment: Arctic, desert, European terrain, jungle, and then follows that sort of ethos. So we're always ready for anything that comes up. So as you've seen with Special Forces now, we've done the desert, we've done so-called the Arctic, above and below the snow line in New Zealand. It's cold. So I'm assuming and hoping that maybe next time might be the jungle, or should be the jungle, but we'll see. Or a European terrain, which we've just done, actually, the third season. So the jungle's favourable, I think.
Well, the jungle, speaking of the jungle, Belize, I know you served in Belize. I was just down in Belize filming a short film documentary about the Belize Zoo. But I know you served down there, was this the 80s?
84.
In the parachute regiment?
Yes, that was my very first posting from training. Never been out the UK, never really been out my hometown. And then all of a sudden I'm launched into this place called Belize, Central America, I had visions of, as we've talked about, sand beach chicks, and then realising, no, this is ex-British Honduras, Belize now. And it's jungle. So yeah, it was a great experience. Going back to what you just said there, mate, I'm interested to see, because I was there in 1984 and I know a lot of things have changed. It was very, very poverty stricken and third world when I was there, you know, but it is a beautiful country, you're right. But I'm intrigued to find out the zoo, you know, because obviously when I was there, I don't know if the zoo existed. It probably did.
I think it was being built right around that time, and I think in the mid-'80s.
What's your thoughts on it? Is it Is it humanely run and it's all?
Yeah,
It
it's the big thing with the zoo is like it's about conservation and keeping animals in their natural habitat. So the only animals that they take in the zoo are animals that are in danger or
Right.
like for instance jaguars. A lot of them are being hunted and poached because they're getting into
Yeah.
like farmers' livestock because their food supply is limited just because there's overhunting. There's
A lot of illegal logging as well,
yeah.
and natural and normal logging, which is destroying
Mhm.
the tropical forest.
But yeah, that's how the zoo, that's really kind of the message that I was trying to get across and getting across in the short film is why this zoo is different, why it's not like other zoos that are just exhibits to try and make money. This is more of an education about wildlife and conservation. But yeah, going back to your time in the military there, how long were you there?
We were there the battalion was there for 6 months, and I was there for just over 4.5, 5 months. I missed the first month because I was still finishing off training as a recruit, and then passed out, and then flew out straight out to Belize, beginning of '84.
What was the reason for the British presence? And
it's very much like it is in Brunei, a deterrent, because there was a conflict or disturbances on the border between Belize and Guatemala. And we were there to patrol the deep jungle border, because what had been happening was Guatemalan forces or militia were coming across, terrorizing the Belizeans, illegal logging, growing drug plantations on their side of the soil, so they never got caught. So there was a lot of conflict between them. Not a lot, but there was conflict. And we were there to patrol the borders, to be seen as a deterrent to them. And actually detain. We were carrying live rounds, and there was a couple of skirmishes when we were there. Not me particularly, but a couple of the patrols did get into skirmishes with the Guatemalans. Or the groups of, I would say, whatever they were,
So was it like the Guatemalan military, or what would you call them? Were they?
There's a bit of, I think, it's never really been proven, or I think it was intimidation by their military.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also, breakaway splinter groups of, just fucking bad people who just wanted to create havoc and run a drugs sort of line across a border and illegal logging, just criminals.
Yeah.
But some of it was military, if I'm honest. I believe it was anyway.
Because I think what I read, and I think they still believe this, Guatemala claimed Belize as their territory, and Belize was like, no, we're independent. Or, I mean, I know there was the connection with the UK, but I think Guatemala still believes that.
So there's still tension.
Yeah.
It's like any of these countries. There's always something bubbling away under the surface that you don't hear a lot about until it really kicks off. And that they'd have been the reasons why we were there, because they believed it was theirs, and we were there to protect it and show force. I mean, when we were there, there was quite a lot of British troops there. We had an infantry battalion, which was us, they're the fighting ones, and we had engineers, we had a squadron of Harrier jump jets, which is a big fucking commitment, a massive commitment.
Yeah.
Costly as well. But it was impressive to see it, and we had bases up in the north, all over the country. There was a company of fighting troops in each place there to show that presence. And it was a very interesting time for me. Never been abroad, learning the culture, learning about how other people live and survive and what was really going on in the country. The jungle itself was fascinating. I mean, it was petrifying initially. I hated it, and then I fell in love with it. And it's classed as a dirty jungle.
What does that mean?
It's because it's been what's the word? Because it's been logged and foliaged and chopped down, and it's a secondary. So you get it's secondary jungle. It's all, you get a lot of vines, and whereas like Brunei, which is still clean, it's forestry, it's beautiful, tropical. You can see through it, walk through it. Whereas Belize, you're dragging everything behind you. It's quite dirty, but there was a lot of wildlife.
Yeah,
a lot of wildlife when I was there.
Did you come across snakes?
Loads of them.
Yeah.
Every single day you did.
Do you like snakes? Are you afraid of snakes?
I ain't anymore. I used to be petrified of them. Yeah. I told the story where I sat next to one and had a poop, right?
No.
So, I'm a young kid. I'm patrolling in the jungle, and, literally everywhere you put your hands, you see there's vipers, there's all these, and we're always told about the fer-de-lance, which is a deadly snake and it's territorial. It won't get out your way, it will attack you. So you're always on edge. And anyway, I remember one day patrolling, and I needed to go to the toilet. I wanted to poop. And I went, okay, so the patrol stops, okay, and I'm looking through the foliage. I can see a tree stump, you know, an old tree had fallen down. It's about this high. So I go over there, and the guys are all sort of talking and checking the maps and stuff. And I'm sat next to this tree stump having a poop, and I put my weapon down. And as I'm sort of looking around, feeling the breeze between my legs, I look to the left at the tree stump, and it had a set of eyes. And I'm like, what the? This thing, it wasn't a tree stump. It was like a big boa constrictor all curled up.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just watching me having this poop. And it was the fastest poop I've ever had.
Did you?
I didn't even clean it. No, I didn't. I left my trails and just legged it back, telling everybody, look at this. A few people come over and were like poking it with sticks, and it just unraveled and took off. That was the snake, not my poop.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
How dense is the jungle? Because if it's like really dense, I would be nervous about looking out for the enemy. I mean,
well, any jungle, you know, it's close. To find the enemy, you're always going to be in close quarter battle. You can never see any more than 5 meters max. That's good. Yeah. You know, because of all the foliage, the amount of trees. I mean, some of the trees up there are massive. Mm-hmm. They have these big, beautiful cathedral trees, which are like the web can be 20, 30 feet apart. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got to navigate around all these things, and then you've got these sort of undergrowth, all this sort of palm type stuff and weeds and everything else. So it's difficult it's horrible to navigate through, because you're trying to move tactically, which means you don't cut anything, you don't smack because you're leaving signs. So you got to pick your way through it, and it takes forever.
I mean, that's a totally different landscape than the UK. I mean, I can't think of anything more opposite than having British forces go to the jungle. How well did like a lot of the your fellow soldiers adjust? Did some people say, screw this, I'm out of here?
We've been fighting the jungle forever, you know, since the start of man. We've been fighting in forestries and jungle. So there's a reason why we do it. We have to stay on top of it. But actually, you know, it's a great environment. I wouldn't say, you know, to fight in it is difficult, obviously, because you're naturally trying to survive anyway. The humidity is 100%. There's everything that wants to bite you and do whatever it wants to you. And, you know, I've been to Belize now, while we're talking about Belize, about 8 times after I'd been there for the first time. Oh, wow. I went out and run jungle courses and loved it. And the last time I went out there, 8 of us ended up with leishmaniasis.
What's that?
It's a disease spread by sandfly, and basically leaves a poison or something in your skin, wherever. Mine was right in the centre of my head, believe it or not, and it attacks your internal organs. Oh, geez. Yeah, it's deadly. But even more deadly is the treatment. It's a month's worth of what I call chemotherapy through an injection. It's horrendous. The treatment was awful, and it really screwed a lot of us up for a long time.
Was that one of your follow-up trips that you got that, or you got that when you?
Yeah, that was in early 2000s, 2001, which was my last trip out there soldiering, you know, with the squadrons. But, you know, there's always somebody who either gets malaria, dengue, leptospirosis, another one got, which is through rats pissing in the water. And there's a lot of them.
Jeez, I didn't get any shots done before I went down there. Was that irresponsible of me? I just kind of winged it.
Well, that's your own risk, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
You probably spread some diseases down
there. Like I said, I did get eaten alive. But the thing is, it's not, I don't know, I didn't get like itchy mosquito bites. It was just I was covered in bites, but it wasn't like that painful or itchy. I don't know what it was.
No, the thing is with those bites, it's what comes later, what's bitten you. Like, leishmaniasis didn't manifest for 6 weeks after we left. I was actually in a war zone fighting after the jungle when it started to appear. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you feel the effects of it, and then you got to deal with it. So that's the worry about it. It's what lies beneath your skin dormant for a while. You know, beefworm was a big thing. A lot of people got what they call beefworm. And it's like, I don't know, it's some sort of horse type fly that lays eggs inside under your skin.
Oh, yeah.
And then about, you know, it could be 6 months later, these maggots start to appear out the side of your head or wherever they are in your body. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of nasty tropical disease stuff out there, but still worth a trip. I mean, fantastic place. We had a great time.
Yeah.
It was just so raw and so different.
It's still like, I would say, it's still a poor country, definitely.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but the place that I was uh, maybe like an hour outside of Belmopan, and then like
Right.
maybe 40 minutes from San Ignacio, I think it was.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty rural area. So I wasn't really in the jungle. It was mostly open land, but I think that comes from
'Cause it's
forest
been logged.
fires. They're burning a lot of that land. Another thing too is right now, and I don't know if this was the case when you were there, but there's a huge Mennonite crew,
Yeah.
like the Amish, but they call them
That was a-
Mechanites now because they actually use mechanical equipment, so they're
Okay.
called Mechanites. But they're coming down there and they're taking over a bunch of the land too and farming it.
They were there when in '84. That was the very first time I came across them. Never knew anything about them, and we were told the reason there was a lot of them were German,
Hmm.
run away from the war and what their country was doing. Didn't believe in war and fight and all that sort, and went and lived off the land. And there was still back then. It was all very raw. It wasn't mechanical at all. There was like no electricity in the schools or the houses, what they'd built. But it was a massive community. And then come across this village of people in the middle of the jungle.
Mhm.
Like, wow, how did these get here? And they were literally horse and cart or cow
Yeah.
pulling a cart with kids going to their make-believe schools. So it was interesting times. And over the years I've gone back, I have seen the development,
Hmm.
which is obviously good, but it's sad to see the amount of the forest that's gone.
Yeah. Well, because the thing is too is with these, and I'm not super educated on the Mechanites and stuff, but from what I know is they'll have like 10 kids or a bunch of kids, and then each kid then becomes a farmer, and they each get their own land and their
Yeah.
own farm. So you're having these massively developing
Developments.
farms, and that's taking away the natural habitats for a lot of
But
these
is that not
animals.
being controlled by the Belizean government? Are they not sort
I
of
mean, I
stepping
guess
in there? Because, they've got a military force there, or they did have.
Yeah.
The BDF, Belize Defence Force. We had a different name for them at the time. I won't tell you what it is.
Well, for them, they're probably thinking the more, crops and exports that we get out of this country, the more money they make.
Mm.
So maybe that's why they're supporting it, because everything's about money.
Yeah.
And that's what I've read about the Belizean government, is that it's pretty corrupt and it's money talks. So, and stuff about conservation, wildlife, I don't think is something that's at the top of their concerns.
That's the case in most places around the world where these, endangered species are. The government don't seem to care.
Yeah.
There's backhanders going on because there's so much money from elephant tusks or lion skins or whatever it might be, And I'm sure that's happening in Belize. But as the years have gone up by and we've gone back, it is sad to see. You could literally not put your burger down, sit down without either stepping on a snake or something being there. I remember the first day getting off the helicopter, couldn't have been in the jungle for more than an hour. I would stop to put my burger down, literally did a map check in minutes, went to put my hand in the side of the burger, and a tarantula run up my arm.
Oh my
Massive thing. And I shit myself.
Jeez.
And then a good friend of mine, he sat down under does his shirt, leaning on his burger, and there's a spider crawling up his chest.
Uh-huh.
And the Belizean liaison officer we had with us spoke great English, and he come up to me and goes, I suggest you take that off your chest. That's a black widow, and it will probably kill you.
He said it that calm and that stuff.
Mate, it was calm as hell.
Oh my God.
It was like, no. Yeah, but he was great. Just to see all these things. I think I told you about the tapir. We used to have these things called tapirs,
Yeah.
or tapirs as you
They
call
had
them.
them at the zoo, yeah.
Oh, ridiculous animals. Like, I don't know what you describe it as. It's like ant-eating cow. They used to come into your Basha site,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Chunter
Basha.
Basha, yeah.
They come in at night. You'd hear them coming in. You could hardly see them, even if there was a candle still lit in the boat. You'd just see them. And if they saw that you took their defence was they'd turn the back and they'd piss on you. And it was so accurate. They'd shoot you with their piss and it stunk. It was like a skunk hitting you.
Jeez.
And then, you'd be lying in your hammock trying to cover yourself up, and these things would just piss on you and then walk out.
Does it hurt? Because it doesn't come out like a high pressure.
I never got it in the face or anything. He hit my hammock and it stunk forever.
Jeez.
Wash the smell out. So there's all these crazy animals. The monkey, howler monkey.
Howler monkeys, yeah.
Jesus Christ, these things started screaming in the middle of the night. Everybody's like cocking weapons thinking somebody's getting murdered. It's just such a wild place. But I've seen the changes as we've gone there over the years,
It'd be interesting to go down out to have you go down now and see how much it's changed
I'm
now
gonna go
versus when we last go. I think I might be going.
You should come back with me because the guy I introduced to, Chris Minty, he's doing a conservation project out there. And actually, sometime this year we'll go out. We'll go out together.
Perfect.
But one thing that hasn't changed since 1984 when I got there is this.
Oh yeah,
Billingham beer.
best beer I've ever had.
So this is a t-shirt Brian bought me, which is a great gift. And the reason it is, when I got to the battalion, I was nicknamed Bellican. Instead of Billingham, I was Bellican, and I hated it. I loved the beer, but I hated the name. But no.
It's funny too because I was sitting at the bar drinking a Bellican. I just texted a picture of it too. I said, "You ever had this?" And you're like, "Well, funny story." And you told me how that was your nickname, and then I saw that T-shirt. I was like, "All right, got to bring this back for you." That is the best beer. I mean, it's not too heavy, it's not too light. It's just a nice, easy drinking beer. It's perfect. You can't find it up here though.
It used to be that we stayed at Airport Camp. That was the base I was at, where the Harry jump jets were, and the actual brewery was literally 200 meters down the road on the left hand side there.
Yeah,
so we used to get crates and crates of it for nothing.
It's good stuff. So we should get them as a sponsor for the pod. We just sold.
There you go.
We should get them to throw.
It's a good beer. You better Belize it.
Oh God.